goes back to thinking outside the box, which you have to be open about it. Like we look at school, and this is my opinion, okay? My opinion. I mean, people can, but I think the school system, while it can be great in general terms, it does not create opportunity for kids to think outside the box. And I was doing research. I was like, you know what, chat, please, can you show me, like, this is my theory. Please dig deep into this and tell me and explain. Like, when you are in the school system, was it created to make us basically just people who agree to things? And, if you think about how the structure of school is, you go in at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m., you leave at 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. every single day. You have your lunch break at this specific time. You always have to ask for permission to do anything and everything. There's a very specific curriculum that you have to follow. And guess who provides that curriculum? Who does? The government.
The government, yeah.
The government. Okay. And we already know as Bitcoiners that government's pretty bad about certain things. And so it quite literally, the system was created initially, and it was revamped in the Industrial Revolution around that time to make us and train us to be workers from an early age. You need to get used to waking up early, go to your school, sit down, learn to do all these chores, go back home at 3, 4 p.m. So, and it still is that. And it's a Monday through Friday thing, right? It's not a Monday through Tuesday or Monday through Wednesday. It's 5 days a week. You have to come to school, right? And it's basically, not saying it was bad, I mean, if I'm like, I play video games, okay? And I have to run my economy and, do this and that and have certain people do certain tasks for the economy to grow. I mean, it makes sense. But it's just interesting how we're talking about education and how at the core, there's a reason why a lot of people don't think outside the box, and a reason why people can't grasp different concepts. And it's because they've been trained since they were literally 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds to follow this specific linear path, not multi-level path, which is required to expand your horizon, your understanding of things,
I love that because it shows that I think we get born with the horizon and actually get the horizon kind of trained out of you. Yeah. As a young human being, you have so many questions. You explore the world. You have a very intuitive understanding of things, and you just want to explore. You have questions. You're like very curious person, and then all of a sudden, like, no, sit down. Don't speak up and be there for a certain period of time. And I was not a lot in school. I held a record for the most hours not being in school in my graduation year.
That's funny.
I'm very proud of that. I had almost every other week a talk with the head of my class, the head of the department, and the head of the school. Because of that, I'm very lucky that the head of the department, so that the guy in between the head of the class and the head of the school, was actually very practical. And he's like, hey, you are a great student. Like you have good marks. Like you're in the best 20% of your class, but you're never in your class. Now I'm like, yeah, because I rather learn on my own. Like I rather just like, learn and just like do the test. And he's like, as long as you have good grades, like I won't do anything. And he was actually the guy that had the decision. But through that lens, I learned how massive the social pressure is in getting people to just show up and not learn. Like I was a good student. I had good grades. I didn't fail anything. I mean, I was not great, but like I was in the middle. I was better than middle. And this with hundreds of hours of not showing up every year to school. And this is why I explored other things and all the things, but that's not the point. The point was I got to know how hard the system kind of works on someone to get people in. Like I had so many countless conversations with the head of my class, like, oh, what's up, Robin? Like, why are you not in school? Do you have troubles at home? No, like I like to do other things.
Yeah.
And so and it's inherently wrong. Like I think like and then also people in the career later on, they have this whole like per hour basis and all those things. Like I'm a very big fan of like getting paid for the value that they bring, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, right. No, it is interesting. I mean, it's all connected because again, we're all humans using a protocol created by humans, and even within the way that Satoshi Nakamoto created the protocol, I mean, it there's all sorts of hues and hints of human behavior. It's basically shaping human behavior to create the money system, shaped around that, right? And what's that human behavior? Well, we need something scarce that humans like to hold because humans like holding scarcity, and we need to focus on maybe more load time preference. Humans need to focus on just basically focusing more on the future, not so much on the present. It's just interesting, how it all connects. Education, the psychology of money, the way that we view things, and how hard it is to accept other people's opinions on like, hey, maybe you should look into Bitcoin. Maybe expand your headspace a little bit to see how Bitcoin can help you. And that's why we're doing this, the podcast, and why we're both in the Bitcoin industry.
I do love the watches from Coin Vigilante, but today I have a very special message, not from me, but from the CEO himself, Carlos from Coin Vigilante. Let's hear him.
To all the Robin Seer podcast community, I'm Carlos Estrada from Coin Vigilante, and we're sponsors of the show, and we're going to give you a very special discount exclusive to you, 10% off your order at coinvigilante.com when you use Robin at checkout. We have really nice watches that you guys can buy right now for 10%. This is a transparency edition, beautiful watch. These watches are worn in over 55 countries and counting. This discount is just for you, exclusive to the Robin Seer podcast. We have limited editions. We have limited productions. These watches come in very nice packaging, boxing material, and they are collector's item for Bitcoiners only. Enjoy the discount. Thanks for supporting the show and Coin Vigilante.
The most important thing for your Bitcoin journey is not buying Bitcoin, but it's how to keep them. And yes, you have maybe the right tools, but how do you actually go ahead and stick it all together so it's the most secure for you personally? Self-custody is a deeply personalized journey, and the Bitcoin way is helping you exactly finding that correct setup for you personally. They are also helping you with securing your own cybersecurity. And if you want to go one step above all that, you can even get a consultation for a Plan B residency. Go to thebitcoinway.com/Robin and you will get a 30-minute free consultation. I finally and officially mine Bitcoin. This is not just something to stack more Satoshis, but it's most importantly also to support the network. Individual miners are the ones that keep the Bitcoin network decentralized. And by the way, you get KYC free Bitcoin. That's why I use Simple Mining. I get an actual proper Bitcoin miner. They set it up for me. They repair it if it breaks down. And most importantly, they let me choose the pool and even connect my own full node. I'm completely sovereign and I'm completely in control, and I can sign up with Ocean, no account needed. I just give them a Bitcoin address and then there's mining going on. No KYC, nothing. So if you're ready to mine Bitcoin, go to simplemining.io, tell them you come from Robin, and let's mine Bitcoin together. I want to tell you about something very special to me. It's called micro seed. If you hold your Bitcoin in self-custody, and you should, you know how critical it is to secure your seed phrase. You should not have them on paper. You should not have them on anything else than titanium. With micro seed, you can engrave your 12 or 24 word seed phrase, the entire seed phrase onto a 1-inch small washer. Yes, just one washer. All 24 words on that one washer. You can hide that thing everywhere. And even better, you don't need to buy a new kit every time you have to get a new wallet. You can make unlimited backups because Microseed is not selling the washer. Microseed is selling the device that stamps the washer. And we have right now a summer sale going on for 15% off. So you get the full kit with the device, with the washers, with the hammer, with everything you need to get started today for $186. And you can make with that unlimited amount of backups. Go now to microseed.io. Again, that's microseed.io to get your last backup tool you ever need.
And I want to talk a little bit about, because you have a business that is not only in for Bitcoin, but also like you hold Bitcoin, you're getting paid in Bitcoin, and this is super interesting because we see in real life people that actually use Bitcoin on a day-to-day. And I want to talk a little bit about the impacts that has it on your business. Maybe even like if you see and getting the acceptance of someone paying things in Bitcoin, if you see there's like a positive trend towards that. Because I did not spend any of my Bitcoin like 1.5 years ago. Now I pay 2 of my freelancers every single month directly in Bitcoin. Yeah. We do only things in Bitcoin. I remember that we first tried it the fiat route, and then you're like, oh, why don't we just do it in Bitcoin?
It's terrible. The fiat route is terrible. In fact, I was just paying one of my Swiss suppliers yesterday, sending a wire transfer. I have to match all these, the SWIFT code and the bank and, all that. And I send the money, and then I get a notification that, it was rejected, because they think that there's potential of like some fraudulent activity. So they're afraid that I'm sending the money out to someone who's going to just steal it. And then they said, please call the bank, so we can clarify things, whatever. So then I'm wasting 45 minutes of my day, calling, and they're asking questions, and I get it. That is maybe one of the pros. I guess call it a pro of a financial institution. They're trying to protect their clients, but there's so much friction involved. And with Bitcoin, it's from point A to B. All you got to give me is your receive address, and I just plug it in, and boom, money is sent. No intermediary. No one can stop it. It's really nice. Power to the individual on a financial level, right? Pretty sweet. I love that. So pretty neat. A lot of people say don't spend your Bitcoin, or we don't like to spend it. Those are just the loud people speaking on X. There's so many people who pay with Bitcoin. And it's nice. I mean, to me, when I pay with Bitcoin, I'm using the money system, the new money system that exists for us to be able to take a part in, which I'm not using the banking system anymore to pay you. I'm using the Bitcoin system. I'm taking power away from the institutions right there and bringing power back to me. Now, I still pay other people with bank transfers and whatever. But what's cool is to have the alternative and the option. And at Coin Vigilante, we take that option seriously. We've been accepting Bitcoin ever since we created Coin Vigilante in 2021. And now look back and look at all the Bitcoin we've accumulated since back then, and look at the purchasing power that's been going up because we've held it in our balance sheet. That's great. It's like a whole new avenue of increasing the purchasing power of a company. Not only do you have to sell products and make a profit on those products, but with the Bitcoin that's on your balance sheet, I mean, it just goes up in value. And now you're killing it. I mean, I'm talking like any business that holds Bitcoin in their balance sheet. This is why, like in the stock market, all these companies, they're going up if they hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet, because Bitcoin going up is almost guaranteed throughout time. And that means that business is going to be more financially healthy than any other business in the stock market who does not have Bitcoin on their balance sheet. It makes sense. It's not, it's not rocket science. And so it's pretty sweet. I mean, we went to the Bitcoin conference, first time we went to the Bitcoin conference, incredible success, and so many Bitcoiners out there who paid directly with Bitcoin. And it's cool, man. I'm saving credit card fees. It gets directly deposited to my account on my wallet. I don't have to wait for the bank to wait 1 to 3 business days for that money to get to me. I have it, goes up in value. I'm adding to my Bitcoin stockpile. It's sweet. And I still don't understand too much and haven't gone too deep into how Lightning works. I know that you do lose some, I guess, decentralization throughout the payment rail, but tons of people paid with Lightning at the end of the day. And it was cool. It was just cool to see. I mean, I have not accepted that many Lightning payments ever. And people are doing it. I mean, people can shop on coinvigilante.com and pay with Bitcoin, and it works.
And that's a great thing. People always people tell me in the comments like, "Oh, Bitcoin will never be a medium of exchange," and I'm like, "What are you talking? Like, it already is.
It already is.
We already use it as a
yeah."
I earn most of the money as I got now all my sponsors. Yeah, starting from September, I no longer have any sponsor that doesn't pay me in Bitcoin directly. It's like I've converted now all my sponsors to pay me only in Bitcoin. So the only source of fiat income is like YouTube and Twitter.
And you know what's cool now is that me as a business, I tell people, I'm like, hey, if I'm sending you money, I'm only sending in Bitcoin. And then if they don't, even if they don't like it or they don't even know how to, they have to figure out how to accept it. Do you want my money or not? And it's just easier to me. And then it's the same thing with you. Like, hey, you got to pay me in Bitcoin. And now that's an option. That's a valid thing to say to a client. And they have to figure it out. Well, what do I have to do now? Well, the first thing they're going to have to do is probably get Coinbase or some other, some sort of institution that's able to connect to their bank, and then they have to learn, So I think little by little, that in itself, the fact that, business transactions now are done in Bitcoin is going to force a lot more adoption than we think. And what are you? I'm curious, because you're talking to Bitcoiners every day for a living, really. Like, where are we seeing Bitcoin in terms of payments? I mean, are we going to see this more of a thing, or are we going to see the route of like people are like, don't forget about it. We're not going to pay in Bitcoin. It's just all going to be a thing we hold in a balance sheet, and that's it. It's just simply a store of value.
I think there's 2 things going on. The first thing is it takes a long time. Like the thing that you are doing, the thing that I'm doing is being on the forefront of the medium of exchange phase of Bitcoin. We are already accepting Bitcoin and paying in Bitcoin, and we are fighting on a level where most people won't be in even 5 to 10 years. So this medium of exchange phase will be coming very, very late. So when we think about why we started accepting Bitcoin and paying in Bitcoin, for me personally, is I got the point where all my money is in Bitcoin. I dropped all stocks. I was like, I have my business and I have my Bitcoin. That's it. And maybe down the road, a house, like I'm still debating if that's a good decision or not, like going back and forth on that. I see the house prices crashing in Bitcoin. I'm like, probably a bad decision. But overall, I got everything into Bitcoin. And then you're like, okay, but why do I have to always keep getting those 1% exchange fees eaten away? Like I always have to like have fiat, and then like there's a fee from fiat to Bitcoin. I have to transfer it, then there's another transaction fees. It would be just so much. So like if you, for example, would pay me in fiat, I will get it in fiat. Probably have to pay like some fee because you're in America and I'm in Europe. Then I have to get it transacted to my exchange. There I have to pay a fee to get it to Bitcoin. Then I have to pay a transaction fee to get it to my wallet. And it's just so much better if it just shows up in the wallet directly. Mm-hmm. So I think we need more people to get very seriously on the store of value phase to even consider the medium of exchange side of things. And then the question of like the second part of it, how it will look up. I just think we will use a lot of apps and services and things that make it easy for people to transact in Bitcoin. So most people won't really know that they're using. They have some credit card where Bitcoin is the back end of it, and it's Apple Pay, and it's like, ding, I paid it, and it's shows up. Then the next step is interesting. If we're ever getting to a Bitcoin unit of account standard where people say like, oh, I paid 20 Satoshis for my burger. Like that probably takes another like decades to come.
Yeah, I think that's
further down the
gonna
road.
take a while. Yeah, I mean, because I've thought about that too, and I'm like, man, like how long is that gonna take? Because I just can't see it, and it's just, it's not that it's not gonna happen, but it's so hard for me to just visualize that, because that means that literally Bitcoin is the world currency, you know. So I don't know. We'll see.
And I think it speaks volumes that people that are on the forefront of fighting for mean exchange adoption, like we are exchanging value only in Bitcoin. We are denominating in, I think we use euros, but like most do either dollars or euros. And we're not setting a fixed amount in Satoshis. And I've not done this with anyone because it's just not practical at that moment. Bitcoin needs to be a lot more stable to say, hey, I pay you a fixed amount in Satoshis and not a fixed amount in euros, and then just transfer it in Bitcoin. So those things take time, but I think it will be great.
It would have to be the world reserve currency. I mean, there's no other way for that to happen. I mean, there quite literally is not. I think we still got time, which again offers the upside potential for those who are in right now. But yeah, it's interesting, man. I'm still pushing Bitcoin adoption, and it's just trying to get as many people to get in, and you just gotta do it one watch at a time, one podcast at a time.
I love it. I have one thing that I forgot to ask you, and when you talked about the theory on with Ray Dalio, because there's this very popular meme where you see this things with Ray Dalio, and instead of China coming up, there's Bitcoin coming up.
Yeah.
How do you think his theory is kind of influenced by the awakening of Bitcoin, by the thing that all of a sudden now we have another force that isn't a nation state coming up in the currency wars?
Yeah, I think initially we wasn't too open to Bitcoin, but when the market tells you that something's important, you have to shift your thinking. And I think he's had to reshape a little bit of his approach as a new money and monetary system is coming up, which is Bitcoin. And to me, I actually think like Bitcoin is like a gift brought down from heaven, because if we did not have Bitcoin right now, then probably things would be a lot more violent out in the streets. I mean, or in the world, in other places, because where the heck else are you going to store your money? If we didn't have that pristine store of value, as inflation just keeps increasing, and I mean it's just not, And so to me, I think it's interesting, because I think it's having Bitcoin as an option is actually being the cushion to the world financial system kind of collapsing, and to people's savings accounts being eroded to oblivion. I mean, I think it's interesting. I'm curious to see what happens, but and I'm also very curious to see what happens as the situation continues to get worse. As more trillions get out into the system. Now that we're already a record high debt. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen to people out there. I don't. I see these doom stories from him that were like it could get really bad, but I don't know.
There's this theory, and I really like it, that because we have an exit wealth, the thing is no longer as bad. So, for example, if you have in the whole world only one social media platform and it can censor anything, and they are starting to really push an agenda. This is really bad if there's no alternative social media platform. But if there is one social media platform that gives an alternative to it, so where people can flee towards if they get mistreated on the one platform, all of a sudden it gets way better. The same way as Twitter and X and well for Facebook. And we talked about it, I think, before we started recording, how Facebook got better in terms of their Bitcoin regulations. Yeah. And I do like that, where Bitcoin actually makes those trillions of debt less scary, because now we are building an alternative system that we can rely on if everything breaks down.
Thank you for watching this video. This was only a snippet of the podcast. And if you want to watch the full episode and get all of the context of this episode, you can click right here or here. Oh, maybe also here.